In our research methods class, we learn how to appropriately conduct studies. We must be aware of all the possible situations that can happen when conducting the studies, such as the goods and the bads, but most importantly, capture the bads before happening. In this video, we will be focusing on the three types of claims: frequency claim, association claim, and casual claim. Let's get started. Hi class!
Hi, Miss Samora.
How is everyone doing?
Good. And you?
I'm good, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into lecture because today is gonna be so much fun. Did you guys do your reading yesterday?
Yes.
Good job. Okay, so I'm gonna be explaining the chapter, but I'm gonna go a little bit in more depth, okay? Stay with me. So we all know that frequency claims, association claims, and casual claims are the three main types of claims. They all have one thing in common, and that's variables. Or the relationship between those variables.
Oh, like me and my girlfriend?
Not that kind of relationship. Let me go ahead and explain it a little bit more. Variables are the core unit. They're the reason why the research actually happens. Let me give you guys an example. Oh, actually, let me start off with the definition. The definition is something that varies. Obviously, it's a variable, so it must have at least two levels or two values. Let me give you guys some examples. One example is nearly 60% of teens text while driving. That sentence alone, we know that there's already one variable, and the two levels are teens who do text while driving and teens who don't text while driving. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. A second one, it's going to be a little bit more tricky, so hang on. Shy people are better at reading facial expressions. That sentence has two variables. One variable is shyness, so people who are shy and people who aren't shy. And the second one is the ability to read facial expressions. So people who are skilled at reading facial expressions and people who are not skilled at reading facial expressions. Gender varies. For example, if the study focuses on just fathers, then there's obviously not going to be two levels, right? It's obviously only going to narrow down presumably on just males. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. And a constant is something that could potentially vary but only has one level in that study. So always be aware of that. Next, we're going to talk about measured and manipulated variables. A measured variable is something that is observed, or it's something natural, something that you can't change. For example, your height, your IQ, your blood pressure.
Oh, like me, I'm 6'8".
6'8", good job, because he can't change that. Everyone knows he is 6'8". And a manipulated variable is a variable that's under the researcher's control. So usually the researcher assigns participants to different sections of that study.
I don't get it.
You don't get it? Let me give you an example. If I was doing a study on caffeine, and I would say, okay, you have to drink 2 coffees a day, you have to drink 4 coffees a day, and you have to drink 10 coffees a day. Are you guys all gonna react the same?
No.
Exactly. So I'm manipulating the situation. Now we're gonna focus on the 3 main types of claims. So what is a claim? A claim is the argument that someone's trying to make. And not like an argument, like a fight argument, it's just their point. For example, internet bloggers focus on personal experiences, politicians are focused on rhetoric and such things like that. The main one is frequency claims. You guys remember reading about frequency claims?
Yes.
Perfect. Frequency claims describes a particular rate or degree of just one single variable. An example is 1 out of 25 teenage boys shows aggression while playing video games.
Oh!
This claim shows how frequent or common something is, the percentage, the number of people who actually engage in the activity, and the main thing to take away from a frequency claim is that it only focuses on one variable. And these variables are always measured, never manipulated, okay? Next is association claims. Association argues that one level of a variable is likely to be associated with a particular level of another variable. So variables are associated and are sometimes said to correlate or covary, meaning that when one variable changes, the other one has to change too. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I don't get it.
You don't get it? Okay. Let me ask you something. Describe yourself briefly.
I'm a shy person, but I know how to read facial expressions.
Okay, perfect. Let's use, you're a shy person, but you know how to read facial expressions. Let's pretend we all do, okay? And And there are two variables, obviously. Shy people have the ability to read facial expressions. So being shy is associated with a greater ability to read facial expressions, and less shy is related with the lower ability to read facial expressions. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Perfect. And it also must at least involve two variables, and the variables are measured variables, not manipulated again. Okay? So to make an association claim, the researcher measures the variable and then uses descriptive statistics to explain it. For example, who can name me the three associations?
I can. Positive correlation, negative correlation, zero correlation.
Good job. So let's start off with the positive correlation. The positive correlation obviously looks like this, right? You guys are familiar with this because of your notes from last night?
Yes.
Miss.
Perfect. So this means that the highs go with the highs and the lows go with the lows. The high scores of the shyness go with the ability to read facial expressions, and the low scores on shyness go with the lower ability to read facial expressions, and that's why it displays this correlation, right?
Yeah, right.
Next is the negative correlation, and it's the complete opposite of the positive correlation. Do you guys see that?
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So it's completely the opposite. Does anybody have any questions about the negative correlation?
I do. Since it's a negative correlation, does that mean it's a negative study?
No, it doesn't mean it's a negative study. This negative only refers to the slope. It doesn't say that the association is bad. So next, the last one is a zero correlation, and this is known as a zero correlation, no association, or that's it. So it's basically saying all the highs and the lows and the high levels are associated with all the levels of physical activity. There is no slope, so if you were to draw a line between it, since there's no up nor down, we would just draw a horizontal line. Does that make sense?
Yes, miss.
The last one is casual claims. And a casual claim argues that one variable is responsible for changing the other variable. So an example is a whiff of rosemary boosts your brain activity, which means that because you smell rosemary, your brain activity is working higher and is working faster. And casual claims use a secret language. For example, they'll choose particular verbs, so you can always catch a casual claims based on their verbs. For example, they'll use words such as cause, enhance, curb, or may, seem, suggest, stuff like that. One example, because I know you guys are probably confused, is music lessons may enhance IQ. And these are actually very alike, and associations use verbs such as link, associated, correlated, predict, tie to. So once you guys hear those kind of words, automatically you know it's an association claim, and casual claims use other words such as may, suggest, enhance, stuff like that. That's exactly what you guys should be paying attention to. Oh, there's the bell and class is over. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, no way.
I'll see you guys after lunch, okay?
Yes, miss.
You must be after supper.